got my work done, and now in front of you, just a few minutes before I've just arrived. I hope I do justice for the purpose I'm here, with all the things happening around. The economies are opening, the countries are opening, the businesses are getting back on track with a very unexpected year for businesses, for startups, uh, for the field we are in. Uh, but it's amazing that things are getting better. It's amazing that the healthcare workers are doing amazing work to counter what's happening. The vaccines are working. If you haven't got vaccinated, go ahead and get vaccinated. Of course, everyone has their own views and concerns, but it really helps the, the economies, the countries to open up. It really helps to build the immunity among everyone around. So, as Amal has introduced, this is Amanat Solanki. Uh, I'm below 30, and I've experienced some crazy stuff in my life right from the age of 13, 12, 13, and above. I started Mission 20 when I was 14 uh, as a very naughty student in my school in Qatar. So I studied in MES school, which was the largest school back then, 10,000 students and huge faculty, huge infrastructure. With that, crazy competition, but good amount of opportunities. So a student who was very playful in nature got identified by someone who now I think is uh, he is next to my father. He is, I consider him as a person like my father, because the amount of respect I have for him, what he has given me by having me join him in different social activities, scouting activities, environmental activities in the school, and he's none other than my teacher. We call him Shakil sir. So it's a very rare in the time we are, that teachers are considered of that high regard, that until now, 10 years after finishing my school, uh, 14 years after starting Mission 20, I'm still in touch with the sir. I'm still part of his mission, which is running back in India. He spent more than 20 years of his life in Qatar as a teacher, as an environmentalist, and as an active scout, and a preacher of scouting activities. And he was well connected with the Qatar Scout Association. Uh, so all those early days of my life, understanding that our energies of as youngsters has to be utilized in a better way, and that, if not done at the early age, when we have options of being diverted in our lives. I mean, I did not understand uh, the importance of teaching. Trust me, I did not understand the importance of teaching until I went to Bangladesh with the Reach Out to Asia team, and I was teaching there to the I was teaching the refugees of Burma, the Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh. When I was teaching them, I did not understand the importance of learning entrepreneurship right at the early age until I went to Indonesia again with the team of Reach Out to Asia, when I was teaching the early or the senior students entrepreneurship, how it all happens, what all are key things to take care. I did not understand that how important it was to learn all these, to understand all these, the whole concept, how it works at the right age, until as I started doing it. So many things we get late in our life, but then if there are people who has gone through all these, uh, they would, I mean, you would definitely want to follow the path. And conferences like these, who gives youngsters a chance to speak, express either Either they have done something small, something big, something meaningful, or something very meaningful, something impactful, or something very impactful. Because impact, impact can be small or big, but impact is always important. So uh, when we started as group of youngsters, we thought that missing class is cool because majority of the activities were happening in our class during class time. So just in fun, just for the fact of being with friends and hanging out, and also helping in organizing events, projects, campaigns, and all those at a small and bigger level, we understood and we learned the whole game of organizing, the whole game of channeling, the whole game of managing logistics and all. And we never knew there are people from my team. They've gone ahead and they made event management as their profession now, because they got an opportunity in the school time to be part of these activities. There are people who have gone into being environmentalist. There are people who have gone into studying sociology, making it their profession, because they were touched by right teachers, and they were touched by right opportunities around them to go ahead and see what the other side of the world looks like. Like when I got an opportunity through different organizations in Qatar to go ahead and understand that what we have uh, is is probably the best, and there are people in the other side of the world who doesn't have it. When I went to Indonesia, where the students were not having the right infrastructure, the school needed renovation. We renovated the school in Tunisia. When I went to Indonesia, as well as in Bangladesh, where 30 students of a different age level, but probably with the gap of the youngest and the older would be 5 to 6 years. They're sitting in the same room made of iron sheets and palm trees shade on the top. When these were the amenities they had, and that's it. They only had that, but the amount of interest they had in them to sit in front of us and learn what we had to say, listen what we came with, got involved in different activities. We took them out. We played football and played different games with them. When we saw that with very limited resources they have, they're so happy. They're it was towards the end of our 10-day trip. More than the students, we were emotional that because with very limited they were so happy, they were so content, they had that strive and drive to learn, and we really learned to become better humans. But more than that, we really learned to 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 basically respect people around us. We learned that whatever we have is much higher and much more than what these people have. And we are in a place with just a very small number of population, and when we see everything is so organized, so developed, the authorities with us are so they really take care of us. The government and all those, they really take care of us. And when we go to those places where the support is very minimal, uh, we understand how blessed we are. So we need to understand that as youngsters in school, in universities, and after that, that the goodness should never stop. These opportunities which we get to be part of youth conferences, field trips, uh, and be part of different projects happening by organizations like us, Mission 20, which is quite focused on what we want to do, quite uh, uh, we have 2027. They're the goals which we want to achieve in 2027. Of course, we have adopted a couple of them from the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN, the SDGs. A couple of them are there, which is part of our pillars as well, our founding pillars, like education, health, sports and fitness, and community development. Now, when we are seeing the crisis now, we understand that the most important of all of these, the ground, basically the goals which needs to be really met is health and education, because I think most of the problems later on can be solved if people have that education, if different communities have education. But that will not really help until unless we who have education go ahead and give in different forms, either formal education, non-formal education, technical trainings and all those. If you do not go ahead and enable the students, the youngsters, and so that they become employable, they become
Damn, bro, that's crazy.
they support their. I think someone has some comments. So until unless we don't go ahead and do what is required of us as youngsters, we wouldn't see a perfect world. Perfect world is not there. I mean, see the technology we have everything at our disposal. The technologies are improving. There's new things coming in the market. The communication tools are becoming much sophisticated. But with all that, are we in a are we in a perfect world? No, I mean, let's say I was talking to someone just a few days back, and at our age, people are getting married. Early 30s and late 20s, people are getting married, and uh, now they are supposed to give time to their family, and they're supposed to organize their life. But I just came to know that there's a person who's just few, I think 2 or 3 years older, and he got married he got married a year back, and now the relation is at the verge of divorce or separation. And when I inquired about the reason, I came to know the guy is addicted. And you know what is he addicted to? He's addicted to PUBG. Who would ever think, even the developers never thought, that a game which they have developed would be a reason for someone's divorce? There are people, trust me, there are people who are addicted to even something very common like Instagram. But I don't think Instagram would be a reason for someone's divorce. But yeah, I mean, I've heard this, and yeah, they are going to part ways. And what was the reason? PUBG. Why PUBG? Because of course they were not giving time to their families, their communities, and so there are a lot of these examples. I mean, if we say Netflix has changed the way entertainment works. Now there might be for sure people differing from what I think, and what I think is what I think. I'm not saying to believe or change your views according to my views, but this is what I think, that everything has to be in moderation. You cannot just overuse something and forget your responsibilities. Like for example, Netflix. There are it has changed the whole game of entertainment, and it's been so easy to access content and all. But then again, if you would go to a cinema, a theater, you'd watch one movie and you're done. You get entertained for the week, for example. But now Netflix is there in front of you, hours and hours. Series are completed within few days. Movies, instead of one, four are done in a day. And again, where's our time now? There are people who needs us. If we have got educated, if you believe in faith, if you believe in the fact that Almighty has given us something, understand that Almighty has given us something and could take away from us within seconds. Almighty has not given those those benefits or those luxuries to people, and Almighty can give them anything. So it's just that if we got something, it is our responsibility to pass it on. If that's the reason we encourage donations, look around the community within your locality. If do they need something? Your neighbors, the local charities have amazing projects, and they're and they're encouraging people to come and donate and people to be part of those projects, those initiatives. Alhamdulillah, Qatar and the authorities and the organizations in Qatar are doing amazing to help the communities outside Qatar, because there are not too many beneficiaries within Qatar, but outside there are millions of them, and every few days you hear of amazing projects coming up, amazing contributions being made in different regions, organizations. So all those are big players, but we as youngsters can definitely form teams, could be within family and friends, come up with different projects to help communities within or outside. There are platforms like Launchpad which can highlight your projects. There are other UN recognized organizations where you can see what all projects they are doing, share a meal. There are a lot of apps and all those. And there are two projects which basically we are going to launch. Pandemic was a big hit. We couldn't launch the Goodness Force, but from our end, everything is ready. Just that we need to launch it. We need to start getting amazing youngsters, which I see 200 plus of you here, to be part of launch the Goodness Force youth volunteer program. The idea is to start from Qatar and let everyone let everyone join through chapters in different parts of the world using a toolkit. There's a toolkit of how to start, how to run, how to market, how to recruit, how to be part of the projects. What are the goals you have to look into? What are the selected goals of this SDG you can work on? How they can work with the local charity organizations or community organizations. All those are planned. It's just that we didn't come out because of the pandemic, because of course the virtual communication is great, but eventually that human touch is the key. That is never going to go away. So, and volunteerism is all about on the field, coming out, being part of the project, so being part of helping the people in need. And the other is an app to facilitate a bit of what the Goodness Force does, but a lot more where individuals can donate donate different items which are just lying there in their house, so that there's a lot of, I cannot disclose a lot of details about that app, because things are easily copied, but once we launch, you guys would come to know. But the Goodness Force is ready to have you guys be part of it. Do you have any question? I was supposed to be answering questions than just speaking.
We received a few questions in the chat, so I'm just going to read one or two out. So there's one from Singha. The question is, how do you see the right of education being threatened today? Example, inequalities, privatization of the sector, restrictions of academic freedom, and stereotypical views.
Okay, well, there is some sort of disturbance. I couldn't get the privatization of education sector. Is that what you're talking about?
The first part of the question was asking, how are the rights of education being threatened today? And those were just like some examples of how it might be.
I'm sorry, I just can't. Can you just send me a message of the question, because there's a lot of echo? Or probably Amal has a better surround.
Natalie, if you send me the message, I can read it out.
Yeah, Amal, you're very audible. Thank you. Anyone? I've seen a few hands being raised. Oh, that was a high five. Or I would just say, okay, let me just add of what I do. Basically, I come from a construction sort of business. Okay. Thank you for that introduction. Okay, so So yeah, I come from a construction family business, but there's a lot of things changing. There's a lot of things happening around. The businesses are not same like before, and I've moved into IT 2.5 years back. So M20 is part of Mission 20, and as a social enterprise, we not only are bringing in some solutions which are going to promote certain sustainable development goals. And how that happens, I would love to connect with people if you want to know how we are exactly supporting the SDGs with our IT startup called M20. Other than that, we are supporting we're supporting some organizations uh, with their IT, the social media support, IT support. So if they would be spending a lot of money in getting their systems and their software, internal software to be made, as well as the website, platforms, and all those. And we are doing it for free for them as part of our corporate social responsibility. But as I mentioned, those products which we have, that is the helping the startups to manage their operations, their books as in accounting and finance, project management, and all those in a very organized way and in a very decent rate we are selling, so that they can focus on marketing and running the company than thinking about the administration and all those. So yeah, that's what I'm currently involved, and that's the reason I'm on a business trip, trying to find more partners in different regions. Amal.
Yes. If you guys have questions, feel free to message them to us, and we'll pass them on. So the one that Natalie was trying to ask was, how do you see the right of education being threatened today?
The right of education. Well, the whole concept of right of education, or right to be educated, is very different from region to region. From even in a country, from a place to place, it's very different. And there are places where the government is taking very active step in uh, providing primary education. But I've seen a lot of places the primary education is easily accessible, but then at the later stage, when they have to go for higher education, when they have to get university education, specialized in certain field, it is a huge challenge. They have to spend a lot. There are no proper seats. Of course, the term you've used earlier was privatization. Privatization not only brings, there's pros and cons of everything. So when education has been an important tool for money making for a lot of groups and individuals, it has been a challenge for people for underprivileged, especially for underprivileged people. And you might not see them openly in the region which we are living, but we are just a drop of the population, and there are communities who require the higher education as well, because the poverty cannot be solved, the health issues cannot be solved until and unless there are higher education provided. So I think the best solution for educating the adults is, if there is no proper education system, is the vocational trainings, because at the end, education is a tool for employment. So vocational trainings are very important. And guys, most of you might be students. Trust me, get your technical abilities up. It's very important that you be sound in whatever field you are technically, because you are more employable if you have technical abilities. When I said technical abilities, I'm not talking about science and technology directly. Even if you're in marketing and you know all the tools required for excelling in your field, and you have tested and tried that, you're more employable than a person who has come right away from the university and has not tested and tried different ways. So yeah, technical ability is important.
Okay, with the 3 minutes left, we'll ask one more question. What is your biggest achievement?
I don't have any.
Okay. How can social businesses get funding?
What is social businesses? Because you mean social enterprises, sorry. Social enterprises, okay. Well, you need to be in the right environment where people understand what exactly you're bringing into the market. People understand that there is really a need for it. But before the funding, the first question is, what can I do as a social enterprise? You need to identify what are the challenges around you. There might be a certain service being crazily priced, and that should be easily available, or probably in certain way a right of an individual to get that sort of service or product. It should be like, for example, the hygiene products. There are countries who are charging up to 15 to 20% tax on hygiene products. Probably startups could think about why things are not available easily if they're available. So once you find the right product or right service, the next step would be the funding. You need to basically find the right people with the right mindset. There are different ways of investment, but nowadays there are a lot of fundings available in different countries as well as internationally. So you need to find the right platforms to pitch in your ideas. And when you pitch in your ideas, do not release all the details. You tell them what you're doing. Don't tell them a lot about how you're doing and how you're sourcing, but just give them a glimpse so that they come back and ask you questions. Otherwise, your ideas are stolen. We are in a world where ideas are stolen within few seconds. And then within few weeks and months, you see it successfully happening in the world. One of the platform is Launch Good. There's a Kickstarter. These projects, these platforms can help you get funding from the community if the community like your product. But then, as I mentioned, incubators and startup organizations. Organizations who are pushing up startup are good fit.
Thank you, Mr. Amanat Solanki, for sharing your experience with us. And this workshop has now ended. We will now be entering our dinner break, and there's no session, and it's a time for you all to get some rest and some food. Please join us back here at 6:30 p.m. We also encourage you to document your journey by taking pictures and videos of the event and tagging us and using the following hashtags. And we'd like to remind everyone that all the speakers' contact information will be posted on our website by the end of the conference. So if you want to contact them and if you have any more questions, you can contact them afterwards as well. Thank you, everyone. Please join us back here at 6:30 p.m.